Ernest Shackleton displayed effective and powerful leadership that saved the lives of his 27 men despite facing impossible odds and enduring incredible difficulties. Alfred Lansing tells this incredible journey in his book Endurance, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage. Shackleton made it a point to remain humane and decent. He did so by encouraging them to maintain hope and faith in themselves. On page 107 it says that Shackleton strove so unceasingly to imbue them with a basic faith in themselves that they could, if need be, pit their strength and their determination against any obstacle and somehow overcome it. Another key part to understanding Ernest Shackleton is this quote from page 82. He felt he had gotten them into their situation, and it was his responsibility to get them out. So he needs to maintain human dignity because it is on his shoulders whether or not his men survive. Shackleton finds his leadership as responsibility rather than opportunity. On page 94, it talks about how he wanted to appear familiar with the men. He even worked at it, insisting on having exactly the same treatment, food and clothing, menial chores. Shackleton realized that despite there being so many different oppositions, the most dangerous was demoralization. He believed in the strength of the human spirit and body. Shackleton went through great lengths to ensure that his men maintained morale, including putting himself in a tent of 4 and giving a lone tent to a man who was likely to cause more problems. Shackleton was willing to give up his perks to keep the group unified. Another example on page 100 is when Shackleton had someone go back secretly to leave a note at their abandoned campsite because he felt that if he had done that publicly, it might show the men that he didn't believe that they would make it out. Shackleton earnestly tried to ensure that his men kept high moral standards. Even without him, they put themselves to different activities in order to keep morale up and to maintain their human dignity. And this included telling each other stories, playing music, or writing in their journals. I especially love that they wrote in their journals because I think it showed that they shared that hope and optimism that Shackleton had as well. That one day they would be able to tell their story, that people would know what they had done. Shackleton's leadership and example endowed his men with hope. On page 205, it says that their general feeling was confident. How else might they have felt? Any other attitude would have been the equivalent of admitting that they were doomed. No matter what the odds, a man does not pin his last hope for survival on something and then expect that it will fail. They had begun to hope like Shackleton.